Good morning, David.
Good morning, Salim.
David, we always think that human beings are wise. That's what we believe.
Yes.
But the question will be, what can we learn about risk management from nature, animals, babies, etc.?
It's very interesting when you look at the natural world. I've had the real blessing and privilege of traveling widely in the world and spending a lot of time out in nature. And it's wonderful, isn't it, to walk in the woods or through the streams or the mountains or the bush or the desert and to see how nature is without us interfering, us wise humans who usually mess things up. And you look at the behavior of animals and plants and insects and birds, and very often their behavior is a response to risk, usually to threats, actually, it should be said, although there is behavior in response to opportunities, to new food sources. You know, elephants will migrate to where there's new food available.
The other side of the coin of risk management.
Exactly, the upside, yes.
Often even in animals, yes.
Yes, animals will respond to positive changes in the environment. But if we think about the negative side, and you find, for example, animals, mothers will protect their young. If a mother bird has a nest and a predator comes, then some birds, the mother bird will come away from the nest and pretend to be injured and hold its wing as if the wing is broken and flap about, and then the predator follows the mother away from the nest, and when it gets a long way away, the mother just flies away, and so drawn the predator away from the nest. Or you have similar situations with communities, like a community of ants or a community of bees or corals, which are a community of individual organisms, which act together in a way that that doesn't always benefit the individual. So these are very interesting behaviors, and certainly we can learn something from them. But I think there is an absolutely crucial difference to remember, and that is for animals and birds and insects and plants, this behavior is instinctive. It's programmed into them. The bird doesn't think, the mother bird, here comes something to my nest, I will do this and pretend to be this and go this far and then fly away. It's just an instinct. The mother lion doesn't, you know, there's a group of female lions with some cubs, and some other animal comes by, maybe a random male, a young male lion, and they all sit around the cubs facing outwards and protect them. They didn't decide to do that. They didn't hold a planning meeting. It was just their natural, intuitive, instinctive behavior.
Is that similar to human being intuitive behavior?
Yes, it is.
Heuristic?
Yes, it is. And we have a gut level reaction that says, in this situation, I will do this. And often it's fight or flight or freeze. And so our instinctive level reaction is there. It's a response to a threat and sometimes to an opportunity, but it's not always the right thing to do. And the difference with human beings is that we can think about thinking. We can observe ourselves from outside. We are self-aware. We have self-consciousness of the self in a way that most people would agree animals and plants and insects and birds don't have. And obviously there are some advanced animals, some of the primates, for example, where it's debatable. They have a level of self-awareness and self-consciousness. So leaving that interesting debate to one side, we can look at ourselves and say, you know, my natural reaction is to punch that man on the nose. But we don't do it because we self-moderate. We think, if I punch him on the nose and he's bigger than me, he'll punch me back, and then there'll be a fight, and then I'll be arrested, then my reputation will be damaged, and my children will be ashamed of me. I won't punch him on the nose. I'd like to. My gut level reaction is this, and I moderate it, and we're back to the idea of emotional intelligence. Understand myself and moderate myself, and then helping other people to do the same. So we should stop and think and decide. And that, I think, is a key difference between us and these instinctive, natural behaviors that we see out in the wild.
Also, there is a difference between animals and plants. Animals can move, and birds can move, which it means that they have more chance to grab opportunities, more than plants which are really fixed, static. Is that really correct?
You think plants don't move? So
that is my understanding.
I think most
Please
people would
correct me.
agree. I think it's not true. So, for example, you do have plants which move. You have the Venus flytrap. It looks like this, and a fly lands here, and it goes like that, and it closes.
Small movements.
This is
I
not
meant
so small, but yes.
large distances.
The pitcher plant, you know, it has like this and honey at the bottom, and the plant comes in and it closes the lid. So there's that movement. The other thing where plants move all the time is the distribution of seeds.
Yes.
And
of course, yes, yeah.
that is the plant. The seed is the plant is in the seed.
Yes.
And so the distribution of seeds by parachute,
By wind,
by being eaten by birds and the
yes.
birds transfer them, by being dropped and caught with
Pollination,
to animals. Of course plants move. They just usually move in the way that they're spread by other factors.
Yes.
So certainly plants can respond.
Yes.
And if you find a situation where trees are very crowded together,
Yes.
then they distribute their pollen more widely and they start another group of trees
Yes.
further away.
Yes.
So I think it is, maybe the timescale is different.
Yes.
They don't respond just as some animals do.
Yes.
But there's also that is something for us to learn.
Yes.
In some cases, it's appropriate for us to respond immediately.
Yes.
And in other cases, we should consider and think about a longer-term strategy and maybe plant something new. We talk about planting businesses, about planting departments, about planting product lines. So planting is a longer-term strategy than reacting as animals do. And I think, too, there's a difference between reacting and responding. You have an instant reaction, you have a considered response.
Just I want our viewers not to confuse between the benefits we can learn from animals and other creatures and between the risk which can come from these creatures, for example, alligators or tigers or infectious disease which can be transmitted from the animals to human beings.
Yes, exactly. I think it's a question of, again, like we said for science, using the behavior of animals and plants and bacteria and birds and so on, the natural world, as an analogy, to say, well, how is that like what happens in the risk world? And I think there is a lot to learn, but also we have to remember that I would say we are not just animals. There is an extra level of consciousness and ability, competence that isn't there in animals. Some people would disagree, but that is my view.
Yes. Thank you, David.
Thank you.